Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel today. We're back on GT Sport and we're back with a race in the GR4 class of car, driving at Suzuka, starting from P2 there you can see. In the lobby at the moment you can see someone, it happens very rarely, but someone actually recognised me in the lobby. It was really good to see. It wasn't that guy, if you see on the chat come up, it made me chuckle when I seen it. Famous YouTuber. I was gonna write back saying something like, you know, funny, like, because I'm not famous, you know, one day, we never know, we might get to the stage where we can pretty much use YouTube as a form of living. We're definitely getting a lot of growth on the channel. I have to thank everyone that's supporting the channel at the moment. It means a lot, and especially when people see me in the lobbies and they recognise me and, you know, they say they watch my videos. It does mean a lot, and it just shows that we're getting these videos out there. With the support we're getting recently, getting probably the best growth I've ever had on YouTube. And that's why I'm keeping these videos coming every day to you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing these videos, and I hope it comes across. So you can see there, starting on P2, we're really looking. If you look at the guy in front, he's the guy that when we did the LMP1 race, he was driving that Porsche hybrid just ahead of us, and he's just ahead of us in this race. So I knew this race was going to be a good race again. So you can see there, the lights are out, and we're a go for the race. And we've got Jimbo's behind us, another really fast racer. There's a lot of fast racers in this lobby. There's a lot of S-rated drivers, so the competition was strong again. And again, I really enjoy driving at Suzuka, especially I'm really enjoying driving the GR4 classic car, to be honest. Although it just seems to be on every time I go on, it's a GR4 car and the track that I want to try. I do enjoy driving the GR4. It's a challenge to drive. It's enjoyable to drive. It's fast enough, but it's not too fast that the field gets too spread out. You get some good clean racing in this car, so I do enjoy driving these GR4 cars. Hopefully we're going to start doing some other cars. I want to start getting used to some different cars and racing with some cars that you wouldn't expect. So that is going to be the aim of the channel as well, to start bringing some other races in different cars, like obviously in the GR4 class, but and GR3, but not in the usual Porsche or the BMW or stuff like that. I want to start mixing it up a bit and going with some cars every now and then. Not every race, I obviously still want to have good races, but I want to give myself, even if, you know, if the car's a few tenths down on lap, at least we can get in the mix in the field. But until they fix the fuel consumption or do something about that, it's a little bit silly to do. So once that's been done, hopefully maybe in the next patch or the patch after, they can sort that out, and then it's just going to be a lot more variety in the GR4 classic car, so I'm hoping anyway. Anyway, getting back onto the race there, you can see the guy in front had an ability. I think this was the third race we did, and we spent a little bit of time qualifying in the morning, and then we did the race fairly, I think it was on Sunday this race, or Saturday, and it was fairly early in the day. I didn't really get a chance to go back on it and improve, so we just got ourselves an okay qualifying lap of a 207.5. I know I can go faster. The track guide, if anyone's interested in the track guide, we've got the track guide for this on our channel for a 207.2. But I didn't want to sit there pushing it for hours for no reason, because we were in the top 10 on the top 10 stars. So I thought what we'll do is we'll just go on and do some races. We're going to be in the top 3 or 4 starting, because not everyone's going to be on who's qualified in that top 10. So you can see there, he has a really good ability to get out of the slipstream, this guy ahead of me. He did it in the LMP1, and he seems to be doing it in this car as well. We were starting to get our speed a little bit better as we did the race again, but obviously I don't have the time to keep racing and racing, because I've got to get these all the footage together and get it edited and stuff. So you can see he made a mistake going through that corner again on that curb. He was so lucky not to lose that rear on that curb. He just skimmed the curb, but got away with it there. And I was looking at that, and we managed to get a little bit closer to him through that mistake, you can see there, which was good, because we did want his slipstream. Because if you look behind us, we've got someone right behind us, just 2 tenths behind us. Look in that top right hand corner, you've got 5 cars really close together in this race. You can just see how strong the competition is in these cars, and that's why I enjoy racing this classic car. It's great fun. I really enjoy Suzuka anyway, because it's a track that will punish you. You make a little error, and there's a good chance you're gonna be punished by, you know, running off the track. And that's why you'll notice I'm not pushing the limits too far on some of the exits and some of the like corners. I'm being fairly cautious in how I drive, although I'm still pushing. I'm driving hard, but I'm not driving to the extent that, you know, you're going to risk too many going off the track and stuff, because you will lose a lot of time at Suzuka. So you can see there, a guy there in fourth, I think it was 4th place there, runs a little bit wide, and it looks like he's under pressure from the guy in 5th place. Jay Adams, by the looks of it, making an attack on FTR. I don't know the full name there, I can't really fully read it at the moment, but it's good. It's a real close battle. You can see there the guy again in front of us. He's able just to get out of that slipstream. I don't know whether he was short shifting a little bit less than what we were. We were just short shifting pretty much right from the off, whether it's possible that he was holding back on that short shifting a little bit and was planning to do it later on in the race. You can see he's got out the slipstream, but what I found was once he had built his gap up, it kind of just neutralised, it just tended to neutralise a bit. So you can see there again though that Jimbo's right behind us, and that's another thing as well, because he hasn't got us right behind him, he's able to really just concentrate on his racing lines. I'm having to look in the mirror, go defensive, check where the guy is behind me. Luckily we got a nice clean exit from that final chicane, which give us a nice little cushion. It's always nice to get a cushion out of that corner so no one can make a move down this straight. Look in that top right hand corner, you can see how close it is. We've got 5 or 6 cars really close together there. So the fourth place, it looks like he's going to have a little look on the inside of third there, but he doesn't decide to make that move. And you can see there someone's gone off the track. It looks like it was the FTR driver, ran off wide. I think he outbraked himself and then he's out of that battle and he's made a huge mistake. So you can see there the guy behind us is still again staying within a 4/10 distance from us. I'm 1.4 seconds behind this guy in front. He seems to be able to just pull out that lead when he wants. He's definitely really a very strong driver at this track. Pretty much I think I've seen him at loads of tracks away. He's a really strong driver and I enjoy racing against him. He's respectful and he's clean, and that's what we like to see in GT Sport. I have to be brutally honest, I have to say there is a couple of drivers that are a little bit aggressive, but in general I am finding the races fairly clean, although the penalty system's still causing a few incidents, but that's the way it is and we just got to live with it until they fix it. I have faith that they will sort this penalty system out. You know, I'm sure they're listening, and I mean they must be listening because they brought out that patch within a week to try and make even further improvements. It just needs more and more improvements, and maybe listening to the community ideas about what they could do. Obviously I've heard a lot of people say about instant ghost. That is so obvious and I just don't know why it's not done. As soon as you get the penalty, it should just be an instant, your car should instant ghost. That's going to tell the people behind you that you've got a penalty, and then obviously once you've served the penalty, then leave it to ghost for a couple of seconds until you've got back up to speed. That's one thing they need to do, because if they just instantly thing it, ghost it, it's going to make an issue. As you see there, I noticed the guy behind me had disappeared and lost some time, so look behind, and on the replay now we're going to see that Jimbo's makes an error. He goes into that curb, and look at that, he gets on that curb and that's it, he's spinning on that curb. Such a tricky corner. So that's one victim of the curbs down, well 2 actually, because the guy behind before that went off wide. So another mistake there, and that's 2 drivers now that have lost their positions out of the top 5, and it gives us just a nice little bit of breathing space. Although the guy behind us is luckily he's in our slipstream, so he's just going to start gaining when we get to the straight. So we've got to really concentrate on the guy in front and try and stop that gap from building up too much now. He's starting to pull away, and I really thought, right, I'm going to have to get on with this and try my best to catch him up. And I actually outbraked myself a little bit into that chicane, compromising the exit a bit, and we lost a bit more time there. You can see we lost nearly 0.45 of a second and lost to the guy behind us, gained about 0.4 of a second on us as well. Really frustrating, but you can see the lap time. We were on for probably a late 2:08 at that point, a little bit behind the fastest lap of the race. But we made that horrible error, and it loses you so much time in that last chicane if you make that error. And again, getting very close to that curb on the left hand side. Although I seem to have got that sorted about how far I could push it on that curb without running the risk of hitting that curb and the car just sliding out. And that curb is a really tricky curb you have to be careful of. These curbs, no real issue, you can attack these. And this section of the track, one of the best sections of the track. I say it every time I'm on this track, but I really enjoy driving through these corners. Just such a nice flow to them, getting the car, swinging it out to the right, getting it into this fast left-hander so you don't have to lift sometimes. And you can see they're short shifting as well. Guy behind was also, I think he was saving fuel, the same as us. He knows about the tricks with this car in terms of its fuel consumption. Short shifting gives you insane fuel consumption that hopefully will get fixed, but whether it does, we don't know. Looking ahead now, you can see the guy behind's about 2.5 seconds in front of us, I think it is there. And the aim now is just to try and stabilise that gap and make sure it doesn't increase too far, because we don't want him pulling away by seconds and seconds. But we've got this guy behind us really close to us again. Seems like the top 3 there, we've managed to pull out a bit of a gap with them 2 other drivers that made them errors. So you can see if you look in the distance there now, coming through to corner, you can see we've got no one really behind us. So it's quite a close battle between us 2, and we've got no one else to really worry about at this stage. But again, we're going to have to do some real defending. That's the only issue when you get someone behind you. You're kind of concentrating on where they are as well as where you're driving, so it kind of compromises your speed. So I was really just trying to keep an eye on the guy behind me and try and maintain my speed. I wanted to keep my lap times in that 2:09, because if you start making errors and get down in 2:10s, you're going to be losing a lot of time. We could have pushed for a 2:08 on a really fast lap, but again, for me on my 3rd race, I felt it was a little bit risky. We were on for a close close, getting to a lap close to it when we made that error going into the chicane. You can see this time we do it a lot better, hitting that curb nicely onto the curb there, nice clean exit, and you can see that's how we wanted to do it before. And we actually start pulling away from the guy that's behind us a little bit, but then he's going to get in our slipstream. So you can see the issues that we had on that previous lap where we lost a lot of time, but you know, I'm not too worried about trying to push for these fastest laps all the time. You can see a lot of people making that pit stop, so a lot of people still do not know about the fuel consumption in this car. Obviously we know about that, and we've actually gained a little bit on the guy in front. It was about 2.5 when we went over the lap last time, and it's still 2.5, 2.4 seconds, so we're starting to close in a little bit. So I don't know, I may be wrong, but I'm wondering if he was being a bit more aggressive on the fuel in the first half of the race, just so that it'd save a little bit more in the second half, maybe revving the car just a little bit more than what we was. It's possible, because it is a good tactic. Get yourself out of that slipstream, start pushing, and then you've got a nice clean air to not have to worry about defending when you are saving a bit of fuel. So it's a possibility, as you can see there. We're keeping it steady around the 2.4, 2.5 second mark, and just again, it's very similar to how we did the LMP1 race. Although I think my pace was a little bit closer to his in that race. In this race, he seemed to he was really comfortable with that car, with the BMW M4, and just seemed to be able to control the race. As you can see, the guy behind me there pulling down. We've actually gained half a second. Well, yeah, 4/10 of a second on him on this lap. Didn't get the best exit from that corner, but we started to gain a bit. We're down to half a second ahead of him, so we're maintaining the gap behind us to the guy behind, even though he's got that slipstream. So I was fairly comfortable with him. I felt like I had Jay Adams covered for speed. I wasn't really pushing 100%. You can see I'm not being overly aggressive on anything. I'm just trying to keep this car on the track. You know, with the two guys that have already made an error and lost control of their car, it was just about keeping this car on the track, because I've seen it in many races on Suzuka. The curbs are lethal at this track. They will just kick you out and spin you out at any opportunity, so you just got to keep it nice and clean tight. Also that corner there, if you run wide on that curb, you can have a big accident coming out of that corner. So breaking down again for the final chicane, a little bit aggressive into it again. Maybe didn't get the entry perfect, but we're not losing massive amounts of time. We're staying around half a second, and you can see the guy in front looks a bit closer to us this time. We've actually gained 3 or 4 tenths on him on that lap as we go over the line, so we're managing to hold the gap, if anything, getting a little bit closer to him. So maybe he was saving a bit of fuel. So going into the first corner, and you're going to see now, you can see he's lost the rear end on the curb, the guy in front, and I didn't know at this point, I didn't know which way to go, so I seen the gap there and just squeezed my car down that left hand side, and we're into the lead. Let's have a little look at that from the TV replay cameras. You see me trying to break the aero slipstream, and he goes into the corner, and that left hand rear tyre gets on that curb, spins. He really does really well to save that car there, but he's trying to constantly save it. We see that little gap, squeeze down the inside, and we're in first position. So let's have a little look from third place's perspective there, because I think he actually got a little bit messed over in that a bit, but I don't think it was the guy in first fault. I think he saw me coming and just decided to try and cover that corner. So we'll have a little look now at third place. As you see there, he's trying to stay with my toe, and you can see the guy up ahead make the mistake, and we both really don't know. You can see me going left, right, don't know which way to go, see the gap, dart down left, and then he obviously sees me, the guy in first, tries to avoid me, and then the guy behind gets a little bit of a restricted where he could go. But he didn't lose too much actually. If you have a little look on the delta, he's only 1.3, 1.2 seconds behind, so he didn't lose out too much, Jay Adams. He maybe lost about half a second or something like that in the instance, but he's gained the position, so I'm sure he wasn't too worried. So we're into first place, and the curbs have really helped us out. And I think, to be fair, I mean, it's the advantage of obviously not pushing, but I think maybe the guy in the lead was getting a bit of pressure as he saw the delta coming down a bit. He seemed we gained about half a second on that lap. Maybe he felt like he needed to push, but my guess is he just went a little bit wide into that corner. The rear left tyre got onto the curb, got on the throttle, and then he's snaking to try and save it. But anyway, getting back to racing, see there, 1.1 seconds ahead. Now it's just about trying to see if we can maintain the lead, make sure he doesn't get into our slipstream. The main aim for me was really just trying to make sure he doesn't get in the slipstream. So you can see we're gaining out of that exit, going back up to like 1.2 seconds around that ahead. So again, I felt like I had this guy covered for speed, so I wasn't too worried about having to race off and push too hard. So you can see we're managing to pull back ahead a bit on the delta, 1.3 seconds ahead now, and it all looks comfortable. So going down the back straight, the long straight, you can see we seem to have this guy covered for speed. So yeah, like I say, we're okay in terms of that. But going through this is the corner as well. You've got to be really careful on that. I actually started getting used to it. You have to just cut the corner a bit on the left-hand tyre, get it on the grass, and then you can pretty much take it flat out, even when short shifting into 7. So braking in between the 150 and 100 board, down into second gear, skimming that apex. Again, not being too aggressive on these curbs, because they can, if you're a bit too silly on them, make you lose time. You can see I've noticed that Jay Adams has just disappeared off the thing, so he's obviously made a mistake. We're going to have a little look where this guy's made the mistake. These curbs are really starting to hurt everyone's races. They seem to be in my favour. It's just when a race is meant for you, I think a race is meant for you. You know, it's not. Sometimes it's luck. So you can see, guy in second place gets on that curb, and he has a massive moment. And I have to say, I had a little chuckle to myself when I was watching this, because if it wasn't for the reset to track, and watch this now, and he's trying to rejoin the track. I've had this happen to me so many times. You try and rejoin, traction control's off, and then he's pirouetting around, dancing around. And if it wasn't for the reset to track, he probably would have been there for a lot longer. But that's happened to me when I've tried to restart as well with this car. You just got your foot on the throttle, and the rears just keep spinning, obviously with the traction control off, and you end up looking a bit silly. But you know, it happens to everyone, so I'm not going to call him anything for that, because I've had it done. But it was just quite funny when I went back and watched the replay after and just seen him dancing around. I was quite amused by it. But you can see anyway, this race is definitely favouring us. I think the guy in second maybe have had it looks like he's had another issue at some point on the track, because he's now 5 seconds behind, 6 seconds behind. So maybe he had a penalty when the guy hit him behind. It's probably what happened. He probably got like a 3-second penalty or more for that. So at the moment now, it's just about keeping the car on the track. We don't want to be making any errors on them curbs and risk losing this position we've got in this race. As we've raced it really well, you know, we've kept reasonable speed. We've not made any daft errors. We've kept the car on the track, and that's what you really need to do. So you can see there, I started fighting the rear a bit there, because the tyres are starting to just wear out a bit, and I didn't want to get that rear on the curb, because when the tyres start losing that traction and you get your tyres on the curb, that's when the errors are going to start kicking in, as you see from that. I think that's the 4th victim of the curbs in this race, just from the 5-6 cars around us. There was probably more incidents further down the field with spinning on curbs. My guess is there was at least 6 or 7 in the race. So a little tip for this track is just stay away from them curves, especially coming out this corner. This one's a real tricky one. If you run too far wide there, you can see me leaving a lot of space between that right hand curb. It does probably lose me a little bit of lap time, but I think I'd rather keep the car on the track. And at the moment, you can see we have not really got a reason to be pushing that hard, because we've got a 5-second lead to the guy behind us and only 1 lap to go. We've got plenty of fuel, so there's no need for us to really being daft and trying to, you know, put a really fast lap in. It's just about continuing the consistency and just get over the line. As you can see, even on lap 6, we started to back off a bit there with the 211, only a 211 lap. We go over the line. I think this lap's not going to be that fast either. So yeah, just another 211 lap. So you can see the consistency is more important now at this stage of the race, especially with them tyres wearing down. You're starting to get the understeer. Look at them front tyres; they take a lot of the wear in Suzuka, because obviously the fast corners. So your front tyres do take a real kicking in this on this track, and especially when you're going for the no pit stop strategy. Like, I think a lot of people are starting to get onto this strategy now. Hopefully, the video that I've done, a lot of people have seen that as well, because I want more people to know about this, because if more people don't know about the fact of the fuel consumption with this car, you're not going to have as good of racing going on. And what I want, you know, what everyone wants is races that are fun and enjoyable. So make sure everyone, you know, let other people know if they don't know about it. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm not going to tell people, but I'd rather have races that are fun and enjoyable to race with fair conditions. And that's why I brought the video out, to tell people about the fuel consumption with this car with short shifting. And like, I understand loads of people saying about it's how the car is in real life, etc., but I think it's just a little bit exaggerated how much fuel you save. I think they need to fix that, or get rid of this times 7 fuel stuff. Maybe they should have something where you've got to pit in the race. Have like on Project Cars and something, you can force a pit stop into the race. Just do that, but just leave tyres on ×1 or something, or ×2. Fair enough if you want a bit of tyre wear, that's not really going to be a case, but fuel, just leave that on ×1. I think it's the best way to do it. It would just get rid of that fuel consumption element to these races, which is favouring the BMW M4 at the moment. But let's see what they do with the next patch. You know, hopefully they bring some new tracks. I'm guessing that Deep Forest is going to be coming soon, because I heard something about that getting mentioned. We all want Spa. That's a track that I really want. It's one of my favourite tracks. If you would have followed my channel for a long time, you would have seen me doing a lot of setups on Assetto Corsa at Spa. I really enjoy the track, the way it flows. It's a very strong track for me. So again, hopefully that comes at some point in the future. So we're going through the final chicane for the last time. And going over the line, you can see we really took this lap cautious, but we've actually built the gap up again, as it looks like the guy behind's had another issue somewhere on the track. He's down to 8 seconds behind nearly. We go over the line on a 2 minutes 12.5, really backs off on that lap, and we get a nice solid victory. So that's another victory under our belt. I hope everyone enjoyed the race. You see there, the mistakes can be made on these curbs. If you enjoyed the race and you want to see more of these races and you want to see other races, check out the channel, give us a subscribe, click that thumbs up button. I do appreciate everyone that does it. It means a lot to me. So again, thank you very much. We're going to be back with more Assetto Corsa and Project Cars videos and GT Sport. Thanks again for watching.